So growing up, something was very common. Parents telling their children, know the son of whom you are, know the daughter of whom you are, or know the home you are coming from. I remember one time I was gisting with my friend and he said each time his daddy said that, he would tell himself, I'm the sixth son of a broke civil servant who struggles to pay his bills. It was quite common then. It is still now. Unfortunately, many parents don't even know what it means. They just say it because parents and other parents are saying it, or it's because it's trend, or because it sounds good in the ears. Knowing the child of whom you are simply means that as a family, you have values that you expect your child to uphold. You expect your child to promote out there. You have values you expect your child to base their decisions, their choices on. That way, you can easily say, yes, they are my children. I know what they can do. Or the child can say, yes, in my family, this is what we do. In the face of an event like this is what we do. It simply means to have a set of values. So let me ask you as a parent, do you have values? Now, if you do not have values as a parent, then you don't have anything you don't have any justifiable reason to blame your child if he goes out there to make random decisions, because you haven't taught them values that they are going to base their decisions on. If you don't have values as a parent, you don't have any justifiable reason to blame your child when they make decisions that do not align with your thoughts, because you have not raised them to have values. My name is Enimi Orebo. Welcome to the class where you are going to learn practical ways how you can have values and pass your values to your children, especially in today's society. Let's look at what values are. Values are a set of beliefs that motivate people to do the things they do. Your values influence the way you interact with the world. Now, everyone has values, whether we identify them or not. We all have values. Whenever you make a choice or you respond or react to an event or a situation, it is based on your values. For example, you have people that say, I will never compromise my standard. You have people that say, I never tell a lie. You have people that say, I always keep my words. They are values. They value integrity. You have people that will choose work over their family. It is their value system. So whether we deliberately identify our values or not, we all have values, and these values actually influence our decisions, are responsible for the choices we make. Now, in today's society, where we see the way things are going, where we have vision for our children, where we have dreams for our children, we want to deliberately create a set of value for them that we know will take them to their destination, will take them to their vision. That is what we want to do. We just don't want them to behave randomly because they have a vision. So if you have a vision, then you must walk the path that takes you to your vision. And having a value system is one of the ways our children's path can take them to the vision we have for them. Not just the vision we have for them, for the purpose God has created them for. So you want to sit back and start by creating your parenting vision. Fortunately, that's one of the first things we do at PAC. When you come to PAC, you want to create your parenting vision because you want to make sure you know what you are working towards. You just don't want to walk in emptiness. You don't want to walk randomly. You want to make sure you know where you are working to. So the first thing we do is to create our parenting vision. So as a parent who wants to have a set of values, you want to start by creating a parenting vision. That way you have a destination for your child. So after creating a parenting vision, you want to ask yourself, what values will your child need to get to that parenting vision you have created? Or what value does your child need to get to that dream you have created? There was a video I once watched, which I also always share with my children in school when I'm teaching them about values, about goals. I teach them with this video. It's a video of a boy who was a white boy who was at the bus stop waiting, and a lady came and sat beside him. Now, the lady hurriedly got into the train and forgot her bag there. What did the boy do with the bag? The boy, it's a beautiful movie, a short one, very beautiful, with a lot of suspense. The boy grabbed the bag and the boy ran. He ran through corners, through streets, and one would think the boy was going to actually take the bag for himself, keep the bag for himself. No, he didn't do that. What he did, he went and looked for the lady where the lady was alighting from the train. She boarded and gave the lady back the bag. And guess what happened? That period the boy grabbed the bag, there was a police there. The woman did not even realize, up until the woman got down from the train, she did not even realize her bag was missing. But police actually were there. They watched the boy grab the bag, and because the boy was following corners, they couldn't drive between corners, walls of buildings. So they followed the main road, and they got there in time to catch the boy, giving the bag back to the woman. And they appreciated him, and they rewarded him with the donuts they were eating. So what message is that? I always tell my children, what if the boy had kept the bag and police had seen him? It simply means that the boy would have been sent to jail or something for taking someone else's bag. What would have happened if the boy had a vision of becoming, let's say, a medical doctor in about 4 or 5 years? His stay in the prison would have delayed that. So as a parent, if you have a vision for your child, you want to make sure that you help them create or identify values that will take them to that vision. So when your child asks you, what has being honest got to do with being a successful medical doctor, for example, you want to tell them this story I just told you. It's a short film I got from YouTube. You want to tell them, ask them, what do you think what would have happened if the boy had taken that bag? He would have gone to jail, and maybe there in jail, he would have met friends, or something else would have happened that would have completely derailed him from his dream, his vision. Now, because the boy had a value of honesty, a value of integrity, he was able to walk the right path, and eventually his vision is still going to be realized, because that will not come to start bad decision or a bad choice will not come in the way of his vision, simply because he had a value and he followed through with his value. So as a parent, you want to create a vision for your child. After having that vision, then you want to create a value system that will take them towards that vision. Remember, value influences our choices. So, and today's society is full of a lot of opportunities, a lot of events. Your child will have to make choices. And negative choices seem to be more tempting. Simply means that your child will face with opportunities to make choices that will derail them from their vision. So it is very important you create your values for your child. You have family values that you want your child to uphold and run with. You want those values that will actually define your child's behaviors, define your child's choices at the end of the day, so that your child's vision will be realized. Now, one of the things I always say to parents is that the fact that you got away with so many things you did, or you are getting away with some of the things you are doing, doesn't mean your child will get away with it. Because I know it's easy for someone to say, I didn't care about honesty, I didn't care about patience, I didn't care about generosity, I didn't care about self-respect, I didn't care about open-mindedness, yet I am where I am today. Yes, yeah, where you are today, congratulations. But it doesn't mean your child will be where your child should be if your child doesn't have values to always guide their decisions. Many people in jail today for domestic violence, they are there probably because it was modeled to them by their parents. Their dad being the violent person, and their mom being the shock absorber that was taking everything. So the parents are married together. Today. Yeah, the child, the son, the daughter is in jail for domestic violence. So it doesn't mean you got away with it, that your child will get away with it. So even if you do not have values, you don't care about values, do well to help your child create values for themselves, because it is very important, because of the times we are and everything we are seeing. So let me quickly run through some value system you can begin to create in your home and model to your children and teach to your children and hopefully pass to your children. Honesty, patience, empathy, generosity, courage, gratitude, self-respect, family, assertiveness, open-mindedness, self-resilience, flexibility, fun, optimism, entrepreneurship, prudence, self-care, obedience to God, and a lot more. Now, these are some of the values you can begin to incorporate into your family life, into your family system, and begin to deliberately teach them to your children. So we are going to talk about teaching them to your children, but before we get there, we are going to do an exercise which I call your identity, because at the end of the day, you want to create an identity for your child, an identity that is influenced by your child's value. So when you say know the child of whom you are, or know the home you are coming from, there is actually a home your child is coming from. The home has a name, has an identity. So your child can actually say, it's not like my friend that will say, that said, oh, the son of a broke civil servant who always struggled to pay his bills. No, that is not the identity. You want your child to actually, when your child faces an event, your child says, oh, in my family, we don't tell lies, so I am not going to tell a lie. So you want such an identity for your child. You want a root, a foundation, that is value, a foundation for your child to base all his behaviors upon. That is what we are looking at. Now, one of the things I use for this, my class, is surname, the power of surname. I always tell my children that God did not give us our surname by mistake. God has created you, because I'm a Christian and the Bible says, train up your child in the way he should go, so that when he is grown, he will not depart from it. It simply means create value system for your child to work on, live his life on. When he's grown, he will not depart from it. And I always tell my children that the Bible has told me to train you in the way you should go. And they've given us our surname not by mistake, as a tool for me to raise you the way you should go. So we are going to take our surname and we are going to take every letter of our surname as an acronym for the values we want to create for our family and for our children. If my family name is Orebo, so the Orebo is an acronym for the values of my family, which my children, as long as they are Orebo, as long as the Orebo blood flows in them, they are going to uphold. So now the first thing you want to do is to get a barrel and a paper and write your name in such a way that writes it on a straight line, so that each letter of your surname can represent one value. Let me give you an example. My surname is Orebo, and Orebo is spelled as O-R-U-E-B-O-R. That's Orebo. Now, the first letter of my surname is O, which means obedience to God. It is very important that my family makes their decisions, seeks God in everything they do. It's very important that we live our lives obeying God as the Bible has taught us. So my first family value is obedience to God. So it simply means we have a mantra. If you are watching this video and you want a copy of my family value, I can easily send it to you. You can see exactly how my family value is broken down. We have a mantra. Under each values, we have a mantra. For example, we have obedience to God. In our obedience to God, our mantra is, what will Jesus do, or what does God think? So I always tell my children, before you make any decision, before you respond to any event, you want to ask yourself, if Jesus was faced with this decision, with this event, what will he do? Or if what would God think, or what is God thinking, or what would God think about this decision I'm about to make? What would God think about it? We want to look at that before we actually make our decision. The first R in our family value is right attitude. Right attitude. So I always tell my children that, what is the right attitude? You have a situation, there's something going on. What is the right attitude towards that thing? You always want to think of the right attitude and always be your best. Project the right attitude. We have the right attitude of gratitude. We have an attitude for forgiveness. We have attitude for excellence. We have different attitude. So when an event presents itself, you want to ask yourself, what is the right attitude in this face of this event? Now the U is unity in love. In my family, having my family united, having my children grow up, having a bond is very important to me. So one of our values is unity in love. So whatever it takes to promote unity amongst you is what should be your option, is what your choice should be. Forgiveness, sharing, respect one another, there are ways to promote unity amongst yourself. The E there is empathy. 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 Be empathetic. Empathize with the world. Show kindness. Understand people's struggles. Proffer solutions, because our children are created to be a solution to the world. You know, I heard one time that whenever there's a problem in the world, God creates a child. God creates a baby and sends into the world to come and solve a problem. So our children are problem solvers. So you cannot really create solutions to mankind if you do not have empathy. Empathy means you're not just running in people's show, or understanding others' problems. So when you understand what they are going through, you can say, oh, okay, I need to create a solution that will solve the problems these people are going through. So empathy is important to us as a family. So the E in our surname stands for empathy. Now the B in our surname stands for boldness. Boldness. We are bold. We are fearless. The B in our surname stands for boldness. We are assertive. We make eye contact when we want to speak. The B stands for boldness. So we are a bold family. So in the face of challenges, we don't give up. We don't shrink. We dare. We are bold. Now, the O in our surname is open-mindedness. We are always open to learning. So we take corrections. We learn from our mistakes. We listen to understand. We don't assume. Now, the last R in our surname stands for role models. We are role models, which simply means that we don't succumb to peer pressure. We don't do what everyone else is doing. We are the lights. We shine lights because we have values, because we are intentional, because we have a vision. We know what we are doing. So we teach others to do what is right. We don't follow the crowd and do what everybody is doing. No, we model right path to people. We model resilience, we model determination, we model respect, we model politeness, we model excellence, we model everything right. We model obedience to God. We model empathy. We model everything right to people. Now, these are our family values using our surname. Now, one thing people always say each time I talk about these family values using your surname, I hear people like, there are some letters like letter Z, like letter Y, and some other letters that cannot readily form a word. So I tell them that it doesn't have to be a word. For example, I have obedience to God. It is not a word. I have unity in love. It is not a word. So what you want to do is that value that is important to you, you can look for a synonym. You can look for a phrase. For example, there is a mom that has the name, that has Z in her name, and she used Zion citizen, which a way of saying obedience to God. There's another one that had a Y in their family name. What did we use eventually, because we created it together? We use yes I can, which is synonym for determination, which is synonym for boldness. Yes I can. I can do everything I set my heart to do. Yes I can. I can forgive. Yes, I am. I am in control of myself. I am in charge of my feelings. I am intentional. So it doesn't have to be a word. It can be a phrase. Just anything that is short and catchy for your children to learn and remember. Now, let me tell you the magic about using your surname. Because your surname is something they already know, they can spell, it becomes easy for them to internalize these values. It becomes easy. Even your 2-year-old, your 3-year-olds that can already spell their surname, can easily remember what your values are. So now this is one of the trick, the magic why using your surname as your value is magical. It becomes easy. So when you tell your child, hey, remember you are your rebel, your child knows exactly what you mean. Maybe you have a D in your surname, and you are saying determination is one of your values, for example, or yes, I can, or however I want to do it. And in the face of a challenge your child is struggling with, you tell your child, remember we are your rebels. Your child knows that we are your rebels simply means that your rebels don't give up in the face of a challenge. So when you tell your child, remember you are going to school, remember the child of whom you are. Your child gets to school and your child is faced with peer pressure. Your child remembers that I am a role model. Your child is faced with situations. Your child remembers that I am bold. We are the rebels. We are bold. So we face these things. We get out of this situation. Situations don't drown us. Instead, we drown situations. Your child knows that we make mistakes. Yes, they are stepping stones. We learn from them and we become better. We become better. Your child actually knows those things, not just because you are just saying it, but because you actually have it factored in your system right from your surname. Now, creating them in your surname is not an express way of saying, oh, my child knows my values already, so my children are going to run with it. We are going to look at the practical ways you can now, after having it coded in your surname, the practical ways you can teach your children to uphold these values. Now, remember, as a parent, these are your family values. You are not an exception. You are upholding these family values. So let's look at how we can have our children internalize, learn, and actually base their choices, their decisions on our family values. So having used your surname as an acronym for your family values, you want to go to the next step, which is making sure your children actually learn those things and they internalize them. And not just learning and internalizing, they're actually reflecting in their behaviors. Now, remember, I started by saying that you need to create a parenting vision. If you need help with that, please let me know. I have an ebook for parenting vision. It's free to members of my community, Parenting Accountability Community. For any other person that wants to get it, you can pay just a token of 1,000 naira, and it's a video and an ebook, and you will get a vision, a guide to create your parenting vision. So we've talked about that. Now, the first thing you want to do is to, having identified your values, you want to break them down into everyday behaviors. Your values are not abstract things. They reflect in behaviors. So you want to identify the behaviors that actually carry each value. For example, you want to look at the word, let's say, okay, unity in love for me and my family, for example. I want my kids to be united. That is why I dream of having a family where at the end of the year, everybody comes back together. We live in harmony. We are playing. That is one of my vision. That is one of my dream. And I know that siblings can actually go a long way to help siblings, to uplift siblings, to be there for siblings in this society. And I want that for my children. So I don't want children who will grow up being cat and dogs, who grow up fighting, being apart. I don't want that. So that is one of my vision. So my value is unity in love. So that unity in love is broken down into everyday behavior, such as respecting each other, talking politely, respecting each other's boundaries, sharing, helping out, appreciating each other. In fact, in our community pack, we have siblings bond toolbox that we use to foster siblings relationship. So we want to make sure our children, we want to make sure we create practical everyday behaviors, opportunities that promote behaviors that have your children bond. If you have integrity as your family value, you want to make sure that you identify behaviors that define integrity, practical behaviors such as telling a lie, not telling a lie, keeping your words, being fair. These are some of the ways, behaviors that actually define integrity. So you want to break your behavior, your values down into everyday practical behaviors so that your children can practice them. That's the first thing you want to do. Now, the second thing you want to do is to have them written down. Written down. You just don't say them, no. You have them written down. They always see them. If your kids are still very little, they can't see, look for a way to make it pictorial. Look for a way to illustrate it so that they will see what you mean. So have it written down. Then you have it displayed in a place that they always see, in a quick place for your family. I have mine written. I even have mine laminated because I have them posted on the wall. So I want them to be very durable. So I had it printed, colored. I had my colored printed and I had them laminated and I put them on our passage one after the other. I started by we are the rebels and these define us. So we have them there. So every time, every now and then, my kids go there and they look at these things. When they are not behaving based on the values, I ask them, go there. What does the B in the rebel stands for? It stands for boldness. So what does it mean to be bold? To be bold simply means that you say what you have in mind politely. You speak up on what is not right. You make eye contact when you are talking. You face your fears. You don't give up on challenges. What it means to be bold. Everyday practical situation. So when my children, they are struggling to do something, I just remind them, remember your family value. Remember your family value. So what is your family value saying about this particular thing you are doing? So have them written down. I have mine posted. Have them written down. Have them posted. Then the third way is you can have a family workshop because the family values are not just for you to create alone. Create with your spouse because your spouse must be with you on the same page. That brings me to the fourth point. Your spouse must be with you on the same page. The adults around you must be with you on the same page because children are learning. Your child's school, you must make sure that your child's school is such that they have good moral standards so that they can be with you on the same page reasonably. So your spouse must be with you on the same page. Your family must be with you on the same page. So if you have struggles, bringing your spouse to you on the same page to share your values, I actually have an ebook that can also help you with that. Parenting on the same page is 1,000 naira only. You have an ebook that can help you to bring your spouse to parent with you on the same page. It's important your spouse is with you on the same page. So I was talking about having a family value workshop. So you want to have a workshop where your spouse is there, your kids are there. When I had my spouse was not available, so only my kids and I, we sat down, we actually look at those things together. You are not imposing it. You are opening it for contributions. They are contributing. You are learning you are hearing their thought about it. You learn more. Before I actually had mine printed, I had it designed. Then I sat with my kids. The value is recorded. You can check my YouTube channel for my family value workshop. You see how we held our workshop. They contributed. It was fun. It was also a bonding moment for us. So after designing it the first time, we had our meeting. So after the family workshop, then we did a final copy, which we printed and we laminated for our use. So you want to have a family workshop where you talk about these things. You explain to them, you break them down. My own family values are all based on the Bible. So we have Bible references that we use to buttress our point. Remember, I'm a Christian and I'm raising godly children. So everything we do is in obedience to God. So even our family values are also in obedience to God. So you want to hold a family workshop. I've mentioned you want to bring everyone to be on the same page with you. Yes, everyone to be on the same page with you. I've mentioned that. The next one is have a family structure. Have a family structure. Yes, structure is simply how things are done in your family. How, where, why, when, and all of that. Have a family structure. For example, you want to teach your children to ask. You want them to ask politely. Like in my place that in my family, that unity is one of our values. I am teaching them all because we are still learning to ask politely, whether from siblings, because they need to be able to respect their siblings. They need not to have entitlement mentality towards their siblings. So they know that they don't have the right to just go there and take. They can always ask politely, can I have this? And they are ready to take a no if they are given a no. And other siblings are ready to share when they have to share. In fact, we have a structure for things, gifted items. For example, you have packs. Let's say, because in my children's school, parents often give their children birthday packs to share with their classmates. So we have a value system that encourages everyone, a structure system that encourages everyone to share. So whatever you have, you share with everyone. So that is a structure to promote unity. And we have a gratitude system. So in our gratitude system, you write down the things that your children, your sibling does that you like. And so because we have a culture of sharing, it makes them note that sharing. It means that whenever anyone has a pack or a gift item, they must share with others. It is a structure. So it simply means that, so because we have a gratitude system as a way of promoting sibling bond, it simply means that when someone share with you, you are going to write it down and throw it inside your gratitude jar. And when it's time to use it, you are going to remember, oh, you shared with me, this happened, that happened, that happened. So you want to have a structure. And if you need help creating your family structure, I also have a material on it. It is 1,500 naira only for you to create your family structure. Now, the next one is your model. This one is very important. You are not creating values for your children alone. Children learn a great deal from you. I always tell parents that whether you are teaching or not, your child is learning. So if you have a value system, you are not modeling them, they are not reflecting in your behaviors, your child, you're also modeling your children not to uphold those values. If patience is part of your value system, then you need to learn to be very patient with your children. If empathy is part of your value system, then you need to also learn to model empathy to your children, to empathize with them, empathize with people around you. If you know that you don't have gossiping as a value system, then you don't have to have your friends come in and gossiping about another person. No. If you know you don't have not being as permissiveness as a family value, then you are not permissive towards your children. You're not permissive towards people around you because your children are learning. Sometimes you wonder, where did we get wrong? Where did we get it wrong? I have done everything. No, you haven't done everything. Someone said the devil is in the details. Yes, you haven't done everything. You have left open those small, tiny details that your child actually saw and learned from that. So whether you are teaching or not, your child is learning. So it is very important that every value you have in your value system, you deliberately model it. You deliberately model it. It is very, very, very important. And another thing about modeling is not just that your child is learning from you. It also teaches your child that these things are possible. For example, let's look at the issue of delayed gratification. Let's say one of your vision is to raise children who are very self-disciplined. That's one of my vision, who are very self-disciplined. You want to look at everyday behavior that shows self-discipline. Self-discipline is simply being able to hold yourself back in the face of events and thinking through events. That's self-discipline. You are not reacting urgently. No. You are disciplined enough to hold back. Your child is misbehaving. You are in charge. Self-discipline is you are in control of yourself. You are able to hold back. Now, in the face of temptation, your child is temptation. Let's say your child is throwing tantrums, your child is misbehaving. You want to model self-discipline to your child. You can actually want to hold back. So you are not only modeling it, you are also teaching your child that it is possible to hold back. The very funny but practical example I give, everyday example, is when we fry plantain in my house, or I fry chicken or anything, or potato. You know, they are very sweet, and there's this temptation, or I make snacks for my children. There's this urge to just want to grab and put in your mouth. But however, that is an opportunity to model self-discipline. It's very tempting, yes, but hey, what am I teaching? Ability to face temptation and say no. So when my kids are there, I am not going to fall into the temptation of putting something in my mouth, because I'm teaching them that it is tempting, yes, but it is very possible to look away from it, even though it's tempting. So I'm not only modeling it to them, I'm also teaching them that it is very, very possible. So modeling is very possible. Another thing you want to use is affirmation. Affirmation is a major tool for teaching what we want our children to learn. Unfortunately, many parents don't know how to use affirmation. So just go online, copy affirmation, and we are saying it. No. Affirmation is actually meant for us to teach children our values, modify behaviors. If you have a child who is always scared, for example, you want to use affirmation, "I'm bold," and when your child is facing a situation that makes them scared, you remind them that you are bold. You have them repeat the affirmation. You are bold. Before your child goes out to face a challenge for the day, you remind your child of his or her affirmation. You are bold. You are brave. That's affirmation. It's a whole lot. I'm going to do a class on affirmation another time. So you want to break your values into affirmation. Let your children say them all the time. When they face, before they leave the house, let them say them. When you know how to create affirmation, right? So you are creating them. It's not just we live in obedience to God. I live in obedience to God. I make my choices in obedience to God. I actually have my affirmation in my own parenting value template. I have the affirmation there too. I live in obedience to God. It is I have empathy. I live in unity and harmony with my brothers and my sister. Affirmation. So when your child is facing challenges, that they are struggling to have that value influence their behavior, you remind them of the lines. I live in obedience to God. What would Jesus do? Affirmation is important for you to create your values into affirmation and have your children always repeat them in the mornings or before bedtime, and also when they are going out, when they face challenging situations that want to tempt their value system. Another tool you use is teachable moments. Teachable moment. I think I've talked about that passively all through my talking. Yes, teachable moment is important. There are moments that come with opportunity for you to teach. For example, your child is struggling with a particular behavior. Your value can come in. You use your value as what is it called? A moment, as a foundation to teach. Let me give you a practical example. The other day, my daughter asked me, "Mommy, can a Muslim marry a Christian?" She asked me. So after the initial, where is that coming from and all of that, I said, what is our family value? Obedience to God. So we also talked about purpose, what marriage means and why you go into marriage. For example, you just don't go into marriage because everybody is getting married, or because there are reasons you get married. So, and one of the reasons, marriage has a purpose. And for you to fulfill your purpose of marriage, it means you have to look for someone who is ready to also fulfill, who is on the same page with you, who shares the same values with you. So I told my kids that sometimes people clash in marriages, there's domestic violence, people break up. Why do they break up and all of that? Is primarily because you do not have the same value system. So you must have the same value with someone you are going to get married to. That's important. That's one of the things I told them. Then the next one I told them was about value system. What is your value? Your value is obedience to God. So what does God say about a Muslim marrying a Christian? It is very important you understand what God is saying about Muslim marrying a Christian. Obedience to God is our value. So it was a teachable moment for me to refer to the Bible verses, passages that talk about that and address that. That is a teachable moment. For example, your child comes back and says, "Oh, mommy, this happened in school. Something happened and my friend was in a situation where he was going to tell a lie or my friend told a lie." You can come with what is our value? Integrity. What does it mean to have integrity? You tell your child that. So what did your friend do? You tell your child that. Why is integrity important? Why has God told us, giving us as one of our letters in our families, for us to have integrity, for us to have integrity? You tell them. You can use the story I shared of the boy that returned the bag to the woman. Teachable moments are very important. Use connection. Connecting with your children. It is very important you build a relationship with your children, build bond with your children, because that is even why they will listen to you. Without connection, you will not be able to influence your children. And for your children to uphold your values, you need to be able to influence them. So connect with your children. In fact, we have a lifestyle impact in my community, parenting accountability community, that is all about influencing your children. So if you want that, you can also get that. Of course, it's free to members of my community, but it's not free to members of the audience. So we have a video class for it and an ebook for it. So you can get that. We can give you for a token as well. Now, the next tool you want to use is correction. Correction. When your child misbehaves, that is the time for you to use your values as a correction, as a tool to correct your child. You want to remind your child of your values. You want to remind your child why that thing is an offense. That is why it's important you all hold a meeting. Again, check my family value workshop to know how to hold your workshop. It's important for you to have a clear expectation workshop where you define everything from the start so that your child understands. They have the foundation of these things, foundational knowledge of your values. So when your child misbehaves, use correction as an opportunity to refer their behaviors to your values. That way you are parenting their heart, you are correcting their heart, you are correcting from the foundation, from the roots, based on your values. So you want to examine your value system to let them know that this thing you have done is wrong because it's against our family values. It's against our family values because our family values are founded here, and they are founded on certain principles. So correction is another tool for teaching your values to your children. And the last tool I want to talk about is prayers. Prayers. I've written about this on Facebook. I talked about how I realized the importance of prayer as a teaching tool when I read Banky W, Nigeria foremost musician, when he talked about how during their morning prayers in those days when he was growing up, the mom would always pray for a house. That way, he learned that how only having your own house was an important thing. So, and he walked towards having your own house. So, so it simply means that prayer, your children, you are not just praying for your children, just casting and binding and killing demons and all of that. Your children are actually listening to you. That is why the way you pray is likely the way your children are going to pray. Except when they grow older, of course, they begin to find their path. But the way you pray is the way they are going to pray. I don't know if you've seen the video of a little girl who was die. She was little girl, not even naked. She was even naked, about 2 or 3 or thereabout, naked, not wearing clothes. That's how little she is, praying, die. So you want your prayers to deliberately be word. You want to pray in words, in a language that your children they will understand, will actually form their path. You are not just killing demons and devils, making them believe that demons and devils are responsible for their behaviors. No. You want to use your prayers as a tool to pass your values to your children. Oh God, as my child goes out today, help empower her to live in obedience to you. Help her remember to always make her choices based on what you would think, what your son Jesus Christ that died for our sins would do. Help her know that she is a role model, that she has a duty to influence her generation. She has a duty to live on the right path for others to follow. Help her know that she's not created to follow to be peer pressured, to follow the crowd, but rather to live the right life and have others follow you. Prayers. Your kids are not only saying amen. God is not only hearing your prayers, they are also learning from you what they should do. Now, this brings me to the end of our class on passing your values to your children, raising children of character and confidence, raising children who uphold your values. And I'm very sure you got value. So if you got value, do well to share this link. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to leave your comments, your questions. Don't forget to like it. And don't forget to turn on your notification to always get videos whenever I upload. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Enemy Orebo. I expect your questions in the comment section. Bye for now.